Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on Sports Talk. I'm your host, William Allen. Today, I'm going to get into notable draft picks. I'm also going to be talking about the free agency situation that's going on right now in the top free agents. A little bit about the 2020 draft. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's get started now. First thing I want to talk about is what's going on with Tom Brady in New England. And if you ask me, I'll tell you right now, I think that the Patriots should bring Tom Brady back. There's no question about it. You can add some weapons around him. You can add A.J. Green. Go and get Hunter Henry. That's all Tom Brady needed was an actual offense to help him out when he was out there on the field. You can actually see the regression only because he didn't have the appropriate weapons to get things done during the season, which is why they lost to the Tennessee Titans in that wild card game that you guys saw, that the Titans came through in the clutch and actually won that game, which there was no doubt that I thought the Titans were actually going to beat the Patriots just for that reason, and that's the truth. Let's talk about Chris Jones, defensive tackle, Kansas City. Now, you already know he's probably going to ask for close to $20 million on his contract. And that's the truth because he was hard to deal with in the Super Bowl in the second half because of his prowess in the pass rushing game. Now, if you ask me, I think you need to tag this guy, deal him off to somebody who actually really needs a defensive tackle. But if you really want to be competitive and keep a defensive tackle that can actually rush the passer, you need to keep him, Kansas City. That's what you got to do. But you got some other teams that actually need him, maybe like Carolina Panthers or Seattle Seahawks or maybe even the Tennessee Titans. You never know. And speaking of the Titans and speaking of another Seattle Seahawk, Jadeveon Clowney, who is going to ask for more money, I feel like. We don't really know, not really sure, but it's a possibility that a lot of teams actually want Jadeveon Clowney. After being drafted by the Houston Texans, he was injured at first, but you see that when he's up to his full potential, Jadeveon Clowney is actually one of the best defensive ends in the league. And I tell you what, it's a lot of teams that could actually get him. It could be the Titans. It could be the Rams. It could be the Colts, who actually need an edge rusher. The Miami Dolphins or the New York Jets could actually want Jadeveon Clowney. Now, let's go to the real deal of what I really want to talk about, and that's Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill for the Tennessee Titans. Titans actually need to re-sign these guys, and that's the truth. And if you ask me, and what I think that they should do, I think Tannehill should get a 4-year contract. Maybe $100 million, a little bit less or whatnot. For what he's actually done, you see his potential, and you can see what he can do, especially in the play-action game, because Derrick Henry is so effective in the running game. And then if you ask me what Derrick Henry's contract should be, you have to go back and look at the contracts that have actually happened recently for the top running backs in the NFL. And if we're going back, we're talking about Ezekiel Elliott for the Dallas Cowboys, who just reached a 6-year contract only because he decided to hold out and he was still owed money for his first rookie year contract. That's why he got a 6-year deal. So if you ask me, I would give Derrick Henry a 4-year contract as well, just like Tannehill, with a big signing bonus. $15 million a year, maybe $16 million a year. Okay, he's still in his prime. He's a big back. You saw what he did against the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, you saw what he did against the New England Patriots. You saw what he did against the Houston Texans. 3 straight games over 180 yards. Derrick Henry is ready to become an elite running back in the NFL for the Tennessee Titans. You have to pay him. Do not tag him. Do not do that. Do not insult this man. This is a man amongst boys in the NFL is what it comes down to. You got to make sure that you sign Derrick Henry. I don't care what you got to do. Give him a big signing bonus, maybe $10 million signing bonus. Give him a 4-year, $70 million contract. Maybe $80 million, including bonuses. That's something that you can actually do for Derrick Henry because he is a very productive back. And you saw what he did for you. He actually got you all the way to the AFC Championship. That's real talk. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. We all know the 2020 draft is going to be in Las Vegas. Everybody knows that the Raiders are actually moving to Las Vegas, opening up a new stadium. Everybody can't wait to see what's going to happen with the Raiders. New head coach, Carr as the quarterback. We'll see what happens with them. Before it's all said and done, you got to look at what's going to happen in this draft and what teams need. And it's a lot of speculation on what could happen. We all know that the Cincinnati Bengals have the first pick in the draft. Of course, everybody knows that you never know what could happen. They could trade down. They may get a defensive player. They may feel like there's a better quarterback that fits their system. I don't really know. But as far as it goes for right now, Cincinnati Bengals are number one. They got the number one pick, and Joe Burrow is the man on the clock. Number two is Redskins. Chase Young is somebody that you do not want to pass up in the draft. He's big. He's like 6'6", 3,000 pounds, whatever you want to call it, and he's a beast off that edge. Played for Ohio State, and he's a big edge rusher that you need, especially for the Washington Redskins, because you need that. Regardless of what Dwayne Haskins is doing on that side, even though they do need an offensive line player, I feel like that the defensive side of the ball really needs help. And you can get other offensive players in that draft as well. But Chase Young is somebody you don't want to pass up on, okay? Detroit is number 3. If you ask me, they definitely need a cornerback. Jeff Okudah is somebody that they definitely need. He's from Ohio State, the best cornerback in the draft. That's somebody that you definitely have to have. You definitely got to get that guy. And as far as what the Giants are going to get, they got to protect their new quarterback that they got, Jones. So probably, you can be like the guy out of Iowa, or you can get Willis, offensive tackle, Alabama. He could go to number 4 to the New York Giants. Of course, I feel like Tua from Alabama, the QB from Alabama that got injured. Everybody knows that he got injured this past season. It's going to be tough for him to come back. I don't know when Tua is going to come back exactly from that injury, because that's actually a pretty severe injury. But I do think he's going to come back, and probably the Miami Dolphins will probably get him. The Miami Dolphins will probably get him at that pick. That's what I'm thinking the Dolphins will probably do. Chargers will probably get Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle from Iowa. Carolina Panthers, they need a defensive tackle. They'll probably get Derek Brown from Auburn. Arizona, weapons for the QB that you got that draft in Nashville. That was awesome, man. That draft y'all had last year in Nashville, Tennessee, downtown, man. It's not enough you can say about what happened in Nashville, Tennessee at that draft last season. The spectacle it was, just everybody that came out. The streets were lit up. Downtown was just packed. If they did that in any other city, it probably wouldn't even measure up to what happened in Nashville, which is what I felt like. Nashville is a special city, and it was great. I think that Arizona Cardinals should get Jerry Jeudy. That's something that quarterback needs. He needs another weapon, as well as the offensive lineman. I know that defense needs more. The wide receiver group for Arizona is getting a little bit older. Fitzgerald is actually, he's getting to that age where he has to decide, do I want to come back? Do I want to stay? And actually, he decided that he wanted to go ahead and stay, and which is cool. I'm like, okay, because he's a big boy. He's a great wide receiver. I remember playing with him on NCAA like 2005 for he played for Pittsburgh Panthers or whatnot. But that's what they need in Arizona is a wide receiver for that QB that they drafted #1 last year. So number 9 pick, you got Jacksonville. I'm just going to go down the list of who I really think that people should get. As far as like really notable teams that I really feel like that they should really do some. Cleveland, I think you need an offensive tackle. Okay, Becton, offensive tackle out of Louisville. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about those Jets. I feel like the CD Lamb would be a good player for you. Coming out of Oklahoma, you need that for that QB. Colts. I mean, you got to think about Colts have the number 13 pick. You got to wonder, okay, do the Colts really need another QB? Do you feel like because Luck stepped down and the backup QB is really your QB, or do you draft one? Because I feel like, I honestly feel like you should probably just draft a QB, to be honest. And I feel like you should get the QB out of Oregon, Justin Herbert. Go ahead and get that QB. All right, let's move on down. Now, let's go down to Denver and what they should do. You know, they got some players in free agency. I think, is it Willis? I'm not sure Willis is up. It's one of those. They got a couple of players in free agency, but if they really plan on having that QB they drafted out of Missouri, if they really want that guy to be that QB, you gotta establish the offensive line. So Andrew Thomas out of Georgia, that offensive tackle, that's somebody that you really need to have to protect him. Now, let's move on down past Atlanta because they just need an edge rusher. That's fine. Dallas, you guys need a cornerback. That's real talk. Now, if you ask me, it's a question of Dallas Cowboys. Do you need a corner or do you need a safety? Because I feel like that defense needs a lot. There's a lot that defensive needs. You can go with an edge, a corner, or a safety, but you gotta have somebody in behind that line that's going to actually exemplify what that defensive line can do for the Dallas Cowboys. I actually feel like the Dallas Cowboys actually have a nice defensive line, and if they had a safety, let's just say there's cornerbacks that are available. You know, you could probably go with C.J. Henderson. You know, you can go with Fulton, cornerback out of LSU. They can dip down and do that. Okay, they can do something like that. All right. The Raiders at the 19th pick, though. All right, they need a cornerback too. They may get C.J. Henderson. They may pick him up. Philadelphia. I don't really know what to talk about Philadelphia. I feel like they have a team that can actually do more than what they did already. Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia underachieved this past season. It was an atrocity just to watch those two teams. That's real talk. From me living here in Dallas and watching those two teams play in this division, that division last year was terrible. Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia, it was worse than I don't even know what. Dallas acted like Dallas didn't even want it. I'm just thinking, Dallas, you don't want this game versus Philadelphia, the second to the last game of the season, to actually win the division, to maybe catapult yourself to do something greater. Dallas didn't even want that game. But I feel like Philadelphia, defensively, you know, that was one of the issues. They may get Patrick Queen, linebacker out of LSU. You know, they may go there. As far as the Tennessee Titans go, I tell you what, man. Right now, it's hard to tell what them Titans are going to do because there's a lot of speculation on, you know, should they go ahead and just go with getting a free agent in Jadeveon Clowney, which is what everybody's talking about. You know, they should just go ahead and go with Jadeveon Clowney. You know, add Jadeveon Clowney with Simmons and that other defensive tackle that you have, Jarrell Casey, and you got some other guys on the edge with the Tennessee Titans that can actually come on next year. You can have a good defensive line because that's what you needed. Because if you look back to that game, if you go back to that game, Kansas City versus the Titans, the one thing that you're going to notice is that, first of all, Tennessee Titans never could get to Patrick Mahomes in that game. That's one thing you're going to notice. That's real talk. And speculation is, you know what? If the Titans actually had a pass rush in that AFC Championship game, you got to almost say that they probably would have won that game. The Texans didn't have a defense to come and stop Mahomes because he gets the ball out so quick. That's the thing about Mahomes. But I actually feel like if there was a team that was going to do it, it was going to be the Tennessee Titans. Now, I don't want to take anything away from the 49ers. That's real talk. I don't want to take anything away from the San Francisco 49ers because I feel like they have a great team. They actually could have won that Super Bowl. I don't even want to get into it as far as what I really think happened and what did not. But guess what? I am. I feel like the 49ers got away from what they were supposed to do in that game, which just like the Tennessee Titans, if you notice that the Tennessee Titans and the 49ers got away from what they're supposed to do in those games, that's the reason why they lost. If you notice, the Tennessee Titans weren't as effective at first running the ball in that game, but if they would have came with the plan and stayed with it and stuck with it, more than likely, it would have came through and Derrick Henry would have had some of those big runs that they really had against the Patriots and against the Baltimore Ravens, and that really would have propelled that team, the Titans, to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. Then you run off of that, you went to that play action, and you got that defense as well with the Tennessee Titans, because if you didn't have your defense on the field so long where the Chiefs were just picking at you all the time, then you would have been in a better position as far as what I feel. Same thing with the 49ers. They got away from what they were supposed to do. But I actually feel like, I know this is a stretch by me just saying this, but I actually feel like Tannehill is actually a better passer than Garoppolo. I mean, if you watch the games, it's almost similar. The 49ers ran the ball and they passed less. Titans did the same thing. They ran the ball and they passed less. But if you notice, when Tannehill was really accurate, he was accurate. Garoppolo in his biggest game versus them, it's like he was throwing picks where Tannehill wasn't necessarily just throwing the ball just out of range and out of sync like Garoppolo was. Not taking anything away from the 49ers, but I feel like the Titans may have been a better opponent in that Super Bowl, just to be real. And I know everybody wanted to see Kansas City. Most people are like, oh man, Kansas City should have went. That's fine. And media has it just like that. The media wants to see the better game, which I understand. But you got fans of teams who actually want to see teams go their teams, which and I respect it both ways. Everybody felt that Kansas City Chiefs were just a better opponent for that game or whatnot. So it is what it is. And but anyway, I just want to say also that if you guys make sure you guys follow me on Sports Talk. This is something that I enjoy doing, just talking about sports or whatnot, talking about your teams. If there's a team you want me to talk about, make sure you just comment on it. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I can actually talk about whatever you want. I'm here for you. I just enjoy doing this. Last week, I actually had the honor of having Idora Caldwell sit in. This is before the Super Bowl. We got a chance to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. We had our pick. Also, we talked about Elizabeth Davis Frizzell. Make sure you go out and vote for her on March 3rd, 2020. That's you guys actually if you're in Dallas. Of course, she is going for Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, place 3. Make sure you get in there and vote, man. It's very important that you guys vote, man. Especially, we got a presidential election that's also coming up, man. So make sure you guys get out there and vote, man. That's real talk. So with that being said, thank you for joining me on Sports Talk. Make sure you subscribe to the channel anytime you can, man. Check me out I'm going to try to put a link up on my Facebook page if I can. But anyway, we got a whole new thing going. We got the draft that's going to be coming up. Like I said, we got the 2020 draft coming up in Las Vegas. It's going to be Thursday, April the 23rd through Saturday, April the 25th. That's going to be in Las Vegas, man. It's going to be on and popping. You know, I'm actually excited about Vegas because, you know, we're doing a men's trip this year. Got my guys. We're going to Vegas this year. We'll be there in, July? Yeah, we'll be there in July 16th through the 19th, kicking it, doing our thing or whatnot. So, but anyway, this is my insight on what's going to happen. So, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Tune in. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys tagging along with me for this show. I got many more to come. So, it is what it is. Like I said, subscribe to my channel. Let me know who you want me to talk about. I'll definitely get your team in. If that's what you want me to talk about, I got you. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend. This was Oscar night. I don't know who won what. I just know I'm watching it right here. But it looks like it's a good night for everybody as far as what I can tell. So, family, have a good weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless. Peace.